Hickmar said... He says it's important to the case.
He isn't getting a red cent. You can tell him that.
Request denied, sir. Over.
Nothing is working.
He says it's important.
He isn't get...
Request denied.
Nothing is working.
He said, it's okay. You can do it, sir. Over.
What is he saying?
Did you want anything else, sir? Many of your colleagues are also here. Over. He terminated the connection. I guess he was in a hurry.
The radio falls silent and lifeless. The communications officer has disconnected the call.
What was that? It's okay, detective. We should get on with our tasks. Work always helps me center myself. Now, anything else you need from my vehicle, or...?
This is Precinct 57. How may I assist you? Of course. What is the number, officer?
Yes, hold on. Her number is 005 1944 298.
Received. Hold on, officer.
Give it a minute. She might be busy at the moment. Takes a bit to get to the phone.
Officer, I have Sylvie Malaika on the line for you. Yes, hello? Oh, right. Hello, officer. What can I do for you?
There is no resentment in her tone. She wants you to ask her out. No question about it.
You mean, why did I leave the bar? Honestly, I'm not really comfortable discussing it with you, sir. Maybe, I don't know. No, not me. No, sorry, I don't. Not a lot of people have phones around here. Copper thieves take the wires. People don't have the money to have the cables put in again. They use the Union's phone, or the one on the coast.
It was someone else. We'll find them sooner or later, officer. It just might take a while.
What? Of course it bothered me. But I thought the Union already knew about the corpse. No one calls the police. The Union would get angry. know, what the union says goes. People listen to them and they take care of their own, which is like everyone here.
Legally, no. In reality, yes. Martinez is de facto policed by the dock workers' union.
I didn't want to get in trouble with the others.
Push her further. Show her the error of her ways.
The other people who live around here. Local people, I didn't want trouble. You don't live here. You don't understand. Squealing is frowned upon here. Everything is dealt with, well, by the union, internally. Please, I just didn't want any trouble. You do? Oh. What else can I do for you? Yeah, go on. I do hope so. Please, don't call me again. Bye.
No, she doesn't have a problem with you. It must be someone else she's angry about. Some other guy. Like God. Trust me, you wouldn't want to be the guy here. You know how it is. Yak, yak, nag, nag. No, you're the guy. You're Lieutenant Love, matchmaker extraordinaire. Help the poor girl out, lest she turns into a spinster. What misogyny? I'm just telling things the way they are. Can't a man be honest in his own head anymore? You have to act, Lieutenant Love. You have to calm that hysteric down. Tell it you've got everything under control. Then go and have a little boys' talk with God himself. Think you can do that, Lieutenant Love? You're just a gimp. What? You want to be more empathetic? Nothing's wrong. It's just sexuality.
Call was terminated by the other party. Anything else, officer?
As always, it's DJ Mesh and Fellatio, and you're listening to Street Freaks FM, bringing you the hottest, the nastiest, the most vulgar.
A flock of seagulls takes off nearby, startled by the roaring radio. Right away, the lieutenant reaches into the cabin and turns off the radio. He's not looking at you as he says,
Someone must have been messing with the radio, or maybe it picked up a random frequency. You wanted a prime line, right? Oh, is that what it was called?
Go for it. Turn the radio back on while it's still on the Speed Freaks FM.
Souped up motor carriage for one bad mama's boy. For the heavier foot and the freakier.
God damn it! Look, it helps me to stay alert on long nights, okay? It's a method. I'm not some kind of speed freak or... You would be too if you had his motor carriage. But seriously, let's quit joking around, alright? We have a case to investigate.
This is Precinct 57. Can I connect it? 57's...
In the cabin, you see a set of steering levers. The white suede feels luxuriant. Your fingers waste no time closing around the handle. Clutch disengaged. Release the handle. Clutch drops. Right foot yearns for the familiar touch of the accelerator. The handle is pulled back. Somewhere deep inside the drivetrain, the disc is mated to the flywheel again. In the cabin, you see a set of steering levers.
This is the Caprice Kinema, my motor carriage. You can use the toolbox and the radio if you'd like. The Caprice motorcar does provide most of our patrol vehicles, yes.
But this is different. This is a sports model.
You're right. I didn't take you for a motorcar enthusiast. Do you also like tip-top, detective? An interstellary racing series. You should definitely give it a go if you like motor carriages. It has fantastic competition. No, I'm afraid not. We have a murder case on our hands, remember?
In the cabin, you see a set of... This trash container is locked. The sliding lid has a padlock that says, "Whirling in rags." With a well-oiled crack, the lock pops open. It should now be possible to simply raise the lid. Don't. Maybe you shouldn't. The smell of rotten food rises to greet you. You see soggy cartons, dirty rags, and organic waste.
We're just in time. This hasn't been emptied for over a week.
Among the threadbare kitchen towels, something catches your eye. A pair of denim trousers. As the legs of the slime-covered jeans begin to unspool from the garbage, a rank corpse smell fills the air.
The victim's clothes? Cadaverine odor is faint. If these belong to the deceased, they were removed when he was still in the early stages of decay. Drop them in here, officer. Guitar-marked blue jeans. Pockets empty. Or empty. He wore them with a belt, too, a white belt. The loops appear stretched, but the belt is missing. That's it. Do you see anything else in there? I have another bag here.
Something slimy catches your eye. A drab, long-sleeved shirt, olive-colored, appears from the food waste, dripping with pus.
This is a military-type overgarment. No label or serial number. This is the kind of rib-knit shirt that's worn over light armor to conceal it in an urban scenario. Anything more?
The rest of the rags are just kitchen variety waste. A yellow old mug that catches your eye. But other than that...
All right. We should go to Gart again and ask if he knows who put the clothes in the trash. It could be as simple as someone from the hostel cleaning the yard. Or that one. I'd advise against confronting that force.
The lieutenant nods, then looks back into the trash container. You see milk and egg rest with one broken egg in it. Some pasta wrapper. You've done this before. The movements are recorded in your elbows, the methodology in your fingers. You're used to this. A box falls into pieces in your hands. Baptiste Soleil cereal. There are plastic pasta packages below, and turbo noodles. Nothing of note, however. It's just organic waste, cold and slimy on your hands. What's this? A blue piece of plastic sticks out from the apple peels. It's shiny. Looks like the corner of something. Something larger. A clipboard. A blue plastic clipboard with moist papers hanging from it. They look badly damaged, but you can still make out forms and notes, written in a man's handwriting.
Looks like we found your paperwork. Yes, it is. Look. This plastic has the RCM street grid on it. You've even got an autopsy form. If you don't mind me asking, how did this get in the trash? Well, lucky we found it. You should take stock of what remains, just to be sure some has not made it into the hands of the RCM's adversaries. Organized crime and the like. There might have been police secrets in your notes. It would also not hurt to start taking notes on the case. Now, tell me what your eagle eyes see. Or are we finished?
Some items, such as the ledger you found, are interactable. Go to your inventory and select the Interact tab to read your paperwork.
You pick out a broken mug with an oddly racist depiction of the yellow man frolicking in saffron. Only in its social sensibility. The container sounds a muffled gong.
That's one thing off the list.
It's just a racist mug. What's there to read here? Not much. The rotting man lies on his side with his eyes looking straight through. The lieutenant adjusts his glasses and takes a deep breath. The dead man stares in silence as you crack open the ledger. The bright red paper is covered in boxes and lists, describing the condition of his skin and organs in 3 parts. Above those, an 11-field info form needs filling out first. It begins with,
That's you.
The corpse lies there, indifferent to your retrograde amnesia. The next
KK57-0803.0815. Next. NA. Next. NA. Roughly 50.
The corpse looks ageless, like meat on a hook. Teeming with opportunistic microorganisms, letting out a foul-smelling diamine compound. Your eyes turn watery.
Mondial.
The pudgy mess of curdled meat looks neither mondial nor anything other.
Fucky, fucky!
Male.
Pigs can have sex!
Nor does he look male, with his pregnant belly and indistinguishable face.
We're still going with March 4th, 51. What else? 9. Body identified by is non-applicable. 10. Case number is the same as the coroner's case.
KK 57 0503 0815 listens, motionless, with the cargo belt still around his neck. Only one box remains.
None, at least not after the initial examination. Interfering with the body's position or wounds post-mortem.
A silent nod. The lieutenant places his gloved hand on the corpse's chest, as if in preparation. Your central nervous system recognizes this gesture. It's the stations of the breath. Ecclesiastic, religious in nature, a holdout from pre-DeLorean burial rites. It takes him 2 seconds to perform. Then, somewhere in Jamrock North, a small wood shed behind Rosencrantz Row, Lieutenant Nick Feuerbach puts his hand to the chest of a small corpse, no larger than a monkey. It's raining outside, like drizzle. There is darkness in the shed. Elsewhere yet, an obese female sits in a wicker chair, her silhouette bull-like against the window. Outside, Grand Coudon. The day is turning dim for Sergeant Mac Dawson. Hand extended, he approaches, to make sure she is dead more than anything else. The building is tall, 7 stories wind-wrapped in solitude. Most of the apartments are unoccupied. This was a suicide, the other an accident. And so, all across Jamrock, Coal City, GRIH, 42 deceased persons found today, 42 stations of breath.
We should start the post-mortem.
The corpse cannot feel Kim's hand on his chest. It no longer meaningfully interacts with its surroundings. A thicket of boxes and lists on red copier paper tries to answer why.
Clothes. The deceased wears armored boots and white briefs. The make of the briefs is Babrodine, I think. Let's...
See, it's happening.
Babrodine, yes. Inexpensive. Size M. Color white.
The disappointment is palpable. The red-haired thing was expecting something more lurid.
The boots are ceramic, vitreous enamel. They are fused to his skin from blood flowing downward post-mortem. Removal of the boots is left for processing. Tattoos. The upper torso is covered in a single, continuous tattoo resembling a microelectronical circuit board. It reaches from the right shoulder to the heart. The ink is blue and white. The assistant has a color photograph of the markings to be added to the case files as document A1. The photo is taken on the scene using a Trigat Mini. The deceased has a cargo lashing belt around his neck, tied with a hangman's knot. Color yellow. Length 3 meters. There is a buckle on the other end. Well-nourished, athletically built, measuring 1.8 meters. Generally consistent with age, about 50. Preservation is good. Ambient temperature below freezing. Body hair is light brown. Distribution is consistent with age. The deceased had male pattern baldness. Hair is combed back, short.
The hair under your latex fingers feels cold to touch, wet.
Lividity is consistent with hanging. The head is congested. Contusions are present on the head, chest, and thighs. Consistent.
Fucking low velocity? You think Kuno doesn't know what you're talking about? Velocity was fucking max. Talking shit about Kuno's velocity.
In addition, there are bite marks on the face, scalp, and chest, consistent with predation. Ligature mark. The steel wiring. There's too much of it. We need to remove the belt so we can get to the ligature mark.
You got just the right tool for that. The chain cutters.
Always good to think ahead. Now, we need to cut the belt to see the ligature mark below. Carefully, with as much precision as you can.
See, my pig is gonna fuck his head off.
No, he ain't. Your pig's a boring fuck.
The belt is equally tight around the whole circumference of his neck, swelling over the edges like white bread rising from the east. The knot is the weak spot. The chain cutters fit in there, steady now, like a flower arranger. 2 cuts and it should come loose. After some deliberation, you sink the cutters into the knot tying the belt together. You squeeze the rubber handles together, sweat forming on your brow. Snap! The knot is slashed. Another cut and the belt falls apart like a flower bouquet, revealing the dead man's neck. and the dark red ligature mark around it.
The rope rises to a point, leaving a gap in the ligature mark. The suspension point is in the back of the neck.
As it ought to. This is where its grip on the curdled meat is gentlest, pulling up.
Hemorrhaging is observed on the skin, above and below the ligature mark. The mark is well pronounced, consistent with a drop from 1 or 1.5 meters. Chest is intact, normal contour, abdomen is protuberant, pelvis intact, genitalia...
No! Let's get up and see!
I fucking knew it!
Genitalia is male and unremarkable. No evidence of injury. Back is symmetrical and intact. Upper and lower extremities are intact, but asymmetrical. There are combat injuries on the right hand, thigh, and hip.
Bullets have bitten little pieces out of him. It must have been excruciating, especially the hip. Before you is a temple of pain that knew little tenderness in life.
In addition, I see smaller, residual scars, too numerous to count, covering about 30% of his skin. We have a real museum here, of battles, wars. Last item, hands.
The hand feels heavy, filled with decay liquids, like it's ready to explode if squeezed hard enough. You're suddenly repulsed, so much so you feel compelled to drop it.
Hands are clean. No sign of injury from struggling. I was. Maybe I'm just not seeing them. Honestly, this stench is making it hard for me to think at the moment. Ooh. That's all for the external. Well done. What next? Central nervous system. I have nothing. Do you have anything on this man's central nervous system?
You don't even have a joke.
Musculoskeletal. Purge fluid is coming from the mouth. Not injury related. Eyes and tongue protuberant. Hyoid bone. Let's see.
With his eyes almost closed, the lieutenant puts his hand on the dead man's throat and begins to massage it, gently. A rotting smell erupts from the mouth. Purge fluid runs down his lips, black and viscous. You hear cracks as the lieutenant moves his sharp fingers inside the flesh, like the creaking of an old house at night.
Yeah, jack that fucker off!
The hyoid bone is fractured. The rest of the musculoskeletal system is intact. Unremarkable. Respiratory system. Oral cavity shows no lesions. The victim has received dental implants, possibly after a combat wound. Mouth swollen, hemorrhaging present in mucosa of the lips and mouth. Hepatobiliary, NA. Are you a hepatobiliary expert? Neither am I. That's it. Same for toxicology and serology, NA. Cardiovascular. The body exhibits lividity in the lower extremities, feet, hands, and neck, visually consistent with the hanging. Gastrointestinal. Digested semi-solid food in stomach. Voila. What's next on the list? Let's see. We have bite marks, contusions on the head and chest, and a ligature mark encircling the neck. You'll need 3 feels. Leave a 4th one too.
Be thorough if you want maximum results.
Head, chest, and scalp bite mark injuries. Predation by birds has caused damage to the body. Odontologist does not need to be consulted. And your opinion, officer? Agreed. Next injury? So, the scalp bleeds from a post-mortem head injury, a stone. The injury does not have the rim of an early inflammatory response. A perpetrator on the scene has confessed to causing it post-mortem.
At maximum velocity, fucko!
Has confessed to causing it at maximum velocity.
Coagulated blood sticks to his scalp and chest, where the countless stones have hit the dead man. Beneath, the description of injury. 2 boxes.
Right. Next. A dark red abraded ligature mark encircling the neck, with a gap on the nape measuring, let's say, 7 centimeters. The hyoid bone is fractured, the cervical column intact. I see hemorrhaging on the skin, above and below the ligature mark. Depth of the mark, 1 centimeter. No signs of clawing on the neck.
Below the note, 2 customary boxes wait to be ticked. The man's head jerks to the side. The ring around his neck is visible. Think for a moment. There's time. Don't rush.
That's it. We have established cause of death. It's not much, and it leaves much to be questioned, but it's a start. Let's wrap this up. I pronounce this field autopsy over. I need a copy of that autopsy form. Then I will drive him to Faubourg for processing.
You tilt your head, also looking at the corpse.
I'm a joke. Look at me. A killer. A motherfucker. And a killer.
Takes one to know one.
Go ahead, Coppo. Into the wild pale yonder. In the past. Way out in the west. What do you mean? It's the power of your imagination. Go ahead. Ask me more questions. You fucking love questions. Because you're a copperoonie. Look at all of them go. Do you want more questions? Here you go, you loony. Because you have. Do I remind you of someone? Sure I do. You just don't want to admit it. Come back later, Corpo. Amuse yourself with my frank manners and my memento mori features.
You run your hands over the victim's cold body, his limbs, his torso with its swollen organs. Maybe you should be more thorough. He pulled down his breeches. Marbling is present around the crotch. The penis has shrunk, crawling halfway back inside him. There is nothing mysterious or noteworthy here.
Can't get enough of that dick.
Do you think we missed something? Okay, well, we are in livor mortis here. He is disintegrating. We need to refrigerate the body if we want to conduct another examination, and we need to do it fast. It would have to be industrial in size.
Fuck are you looking at, Beano man?
Only if all else fails. This is one task we cannot sideline. With every hour.
There are several footprints in the mud, left by work boots. Anywhere from 6 to 12 peers have walked here. What do you think you are? A super detective? You're hungover. These are just dents in the mud. No pattern emerges for heavy workers' boots with reinforced toes and hobnails. The man is deep. The lieutenant adjusts his glasses.
Shoot, Looney Rooney. Come back later, Corporal. Amuse yourself with my frank manners and my...
If you think so, officer, I'm not going to object. I need a little help for carrying him to the holding pen of my kinema. I'll take it from there. It's too late to take him into processing today. I'll take him first thing tomorrow.
The bed is cold and not particularly inviting, but it's yours. The sheets...
The option to go to sleep becomes available every night after 9 p.m.
The window stands broken in its frame. You see a heavy steel door with a prominent dimple lock. It's painted blue. The cobalt blue surface feels rough. Old cobalt paint, rough on the fingers. 40, 50 years since this was... The door does not budge. The door stands. A thin man is smoking below an exhaust hood. As you step in, he nods toward the table and says something in a completely foreign language. It must be his name. Garancy. Garancy, Quebec. Sounds representative. The man puts his cup down and replies something. His left hand drawing arcs in the air. He looks up at you, then looks away quickly, shrugging and muttering something to himself. Shrugging is an international sign for, no, I don't know what's behind that door.
Can I help you? Thanks. I hope you found what you were looking for. How strange. I certainly didn't put them there. Sylvie had the keys before I got here, and I can vouch for her. I can vouch for all my stuff. None of us would tamper with the crime scene. The trash collection service? CS...
Ah, the elusive CS Municipal. I doubt we'll be able to track down who was sent here last and when. This will have to be...
On Clinton Street, near the Boogie Street Diamond, a small truck rattles down an alleyway. It stops by...
Thank you anyway.
Yes?
Inside, you see a set of steering levers.
This is Precinct 57. How may I assist you? Just a second, officer. Sylvie Malaika on the line for you, officer.
Yes, hello? Oh, great. What else do you need, detective? Well, you tried to jam it down the toilet, sir, clogging it completely. After I had unclogged the toilet and retrieved the paperwork, I threw it out in the trash, thinking you didn't need it. I am sorry about that. Anything else, detective? Please, no. Not this again. Everyone saw your cool gun, detective. You were trying to impress some people with it. Everyone was eating, and...
Sounds like it's going to be bad. Do you really want to know?
You were waving it around in everyone's face, begging them to describe it. You said it calms you, and then you started making suicide jokes. It got pretty graphic.
People tried to back away from you, or even slip out of the door. But you screamed, "I am the goddamned law. And you have to listen to me. You are all suspects in a murder investigation.
No idea. All I know is next you were waving around money instead, saying things like big bucks cannot lie and guns can't buy money, but money can always buy guns. It almost looked like you pawned it, but believe me, I did not ask.
You hear the call breaking up on the other end of the radio, and then the already familiar voice.
Anything else I can help you with, officer? Just a moment, officer.
10-4, come in, officer. Over. Ten-4, your badge should have most of your personal details. Look over that. Over. 10-4, anything else for you, sir? Over. Roger that. 10-10, over and out.
Life doesn't need to be a struggle. I'll be with you in a moment, officer. Let me just finish my sandwich. Talk to angry old René first.
Have you no shame? Whining about your back every time you bring out the...
René, you're a man with a fork in a world of soup. Please, let's just try to enjoy the game, all right?
Look, in his hand, going into his mouth, the sandwich. It's hauntingly beautiful.
I'm trying to, but you keep breaking my concentration. You're old. I can see that. We're both old. Now stop.
These manly men are playing balls. This is a ball game. Grab a ball and play it. Don't ask questions. Shoot first. Ask questions never. No, you got this. There's the ball. You're the game. You are immediately surprised by the ball's lack of weight. No matter, you'll make it work. God, this is right. You feel the familiar tremble of excitement and adrenaline that precedes every victory. The cold metal ball is surprisingly smooth against your neck. It has a pattern on it, probably a sponsored ball. Yours would only be covered with bumps of learning and scars of victory. Already your muscles are adjusting to the weight, the nervous system calibrating, until you and the ball have merged into a single entity. The man ball is ready. A chilly breeze ruffles your hair as you stand there, feet firmly planted. All sounds, smells, even the wind, everything fades until the only thing left is the union of man and ball. West, in the Grand Couronne area, a sharp overhand left from Arsène-Luc Edelbrock sends the Samarin heavyweight champion, hoist an embodiment of pure motion, a fine-tuned locomotor running at maximum efficiency. Behold the fear and confusion reflecting in the eyes of the two feeble geezers. They are in awe of your superiority. You are a god to them.
Merde! Bordel de merde! What the hell is your problem? I don't care if you are a cop. You do not just ruin someone's game. It's so goddamn disrespectful.
A man his age getting worked up like that? Better watch that blood pressure.
You vandalized our game, son! We can't play pétanque with 5 bull! Well, it damn well isn't! It's pétanque! You ruined a pétanque game! We want our bull back!
Take it easy, René. This is just a misunderstanding, isn't it, officer? No harm done.
Of course there's harm done, you orange slug! You owe us a goddamn bull! Good! Mistakes are forgiven, when men at least try to right their wrongs. I believe you will try. Now why did you approach us?
It's not often. What can I do?
His courtesy is not insincere, but he prefers being alone with his projector, just watching the movement of light across the walls of the shop.
I haven't had any problems myself, though some of my customers have complained about inconsistent law enforcement.
Who are your customers usually?
All kinds of people come through here. As you can see, I have a wide selection of goods for everyone to choose from. It keeps me entertained.
He's well composed, but underneath it you sense psychedelic processes bubbling. Some kind of drug, maybe. Entertained? He might be high. If he is, on what?
Let me have a look. Anything else you're thinking of selling? Another time, perhaps.
Feeling warm and enthralled by the movement of light, while the mind continues to race forward. Lucky bastard, he's probably on Parolidon. It's tough to come by on the street. A drug developed by the military to treat and prevent radiation sickness. It has psychedelic side effects, and it makes your eyes turn yellow.
How would I know? Trollodon is just something since the People's Power disaster. I was with the Emergency Relief Brigade. Had to take it for radiation sickness.
He's taken it for mental and emotional, not physical pain these days.
A bad idea. Some poor leftist built a particle decay generator in hopes of bringing affordable electricity to underserved communities. It malfunctioned. Radioactive waste everywhere. Probably some of it in you too. We were an all-volunteer force, self-organized. Tried to help the fire brigades contain the spill.
On the patch, gamma radiation lines crossed with a red drop of blood. Tough son of a gun, this one. Respect.
I lived by the river since I was a small boy. The Esperance. Didn't have the art to let it all go to shit without trying to do something to help out. There wasn't much the volunteer force could do, however. We wasted years in the river mud. Years getting sick. There's a reason why everyone's tried to forget any of it ever happened. And why no one has tried to repair or replace the pile. So much disappointment and early deaths. Cancer mostly. And we knew all that was coming even as we were cleaning up as best we could. No one's. Everyone's.
So much bitterness.
A bunch of poor people built themselves a primitive nuclear reactor, hoping for the best. What do you think is going to happen? The cleanup happened 15 years ago. I was young then. Later, my second aunt died. Left me this shack and all the assorted junk in it. So I came to Martinez. People, I like the theory more than the story. Outward movement, not vortices.
Yeah, you gotta get in on those vortices, my man.
Have you tried it before?
The lieutenant steps away, pretending to admire some of the knickknacks on display. Looks like he doesn't want to get involved.
If you say so. Here you go, man.
Yes, darling. That's the coalition government ordained Parolidon. Straight into your gut.
Of course. Someone else came here earlier today asking the same question. I promptly sold her the gun you pawned a couple days back.
What? Sold? The lieutenant shifts from one foot to another, alert.
She didn't seem like a policeman, although she kept referring to herself as a pig, which was odd. I found her interest in the gun a bit obsessive, but I was just happy to get rid of it, and of her. Truth be told, she was terrifying.
Right, so let me get this right. You sold your sidearm, issued by the citizens' militia, and now a civilian is running around the streets of Martinez with it? It's possible in these parts of town. We ought to find her and discourage her from taking justice into her own hands.
My apologies, officer, but I have no idea where she was coming from or where she went.
A needle in a haystack. There is nothing you can do about it now.
You were adamant about getting rid of it, officer. Said you were undeserving of a service weapon of the Revachol Citizens Militia. And I don't like keeping guns around the shop for long. Off the charts photon emissions. The unhealthy, of course. I doubt it, but I can try and answer any questions you may have. I do my best to keep my distance from all
No one likes to see what you...
Can't say I'm a huge admirer of wild pines, and I can't say I trust any silver-tongued spokesperson of theirs. Fortunately, I have no reason to get involved. No, just... people like that make everyone else see the world somewhat askew, at an angle that is convenient for them. Now, you have more questions, or are we? He's been by the shop a couple of times.
There was something awfully deliberate about that laziness.
He purchased a remarkably garish paperweight the first time he was here. Nothing the second. They weren't the most pleasant interactions. Small-town bigwigs always want everyone to play a part in the play they're staging. But I bowed out at some point. I prefer to watch from afar while the bigwigs come and go. He tried. Wanted to come to some mutually beneficial agreement around my dealings with the dock workers. I politely declined to hear him out.
So you don't know what kind of arrangements he was talking about?
As I said, I refused to talk to him. That's why he came back a second time. That's also why he hasn't come back a third.
He nods reluctantly. The pawnbroker's gaze is already fixed on the dancing colors.
Sure thing. Sure, man.
A couple of indicator lights are missing from this control panel. Loose wires dangle from the now vacant holes. In the middle is a lever. Beneath it, a small metal plaque. This panel usually closes the waterlock, turning it into a bridge that lets you cross the canal. But there's a crashed salmon and butter sign in the way. Pulling the lever probably won't do anything.
G'day to you, officers.
A burly man hangs out by the waterlock, carving up a generous serving of salami with an old hunter's knife. His eyes are fixed on a man stranded on the other side of the waterlock and on an enormous billboard that has fallen down into the canal between them. His posture is relaxed. Despite his powerful build and a knife in his hand, this man resorts to physical intimidation only infrequently, if at all.
I wasn't here to witness it, but those look like tire tracks on that sign. Weird, huh? Then again, plenty of daredevil drivers in Rivershoal. Too bad it also takes a year and a day to repair anything around here, especially a waterlock. The rest of the coast is closed off till then. Well, there's the fishing village, an abandoned fish market, a bizarro church. Not much use to the congregation, though. There always seems to be something wrong with it. Yeah, not really much else. Just bombed out ruins. Sure thing.
It is salty, it is savory, it is chewy. The hangover only makes the salami more tasty.
Want some too, officer?
Why not?
There's a pile of cheap sunglasses in a small box, a variety of shapes and colors.
You like sunglasses, officer? I've got the latest styles right here.
You see a Samaran street vendor surrounded by a motley assemblage of goods. When he realizes you're looking at him, his face breaks into a wide, welcoming grin. The name Sileng is embroidered over his breast pocket.
Happy shopping, officer. Everything's cool here. Everything's cool. The goods are cool, the customers are cool, the place is cool. And one more thing, officer.
From out on the bay, a cool wind gathers. It sweeps into the city, tugging at the textiles hanging around the stand. Some distance away, the sound of a tin can clattering across the street can be heard.
You're very cool. Bang, 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 bang!
You feel a twitch in your index fingers. There's a finger shootout a brewing.
Don't shoot, officer! Have we got an arrest here or just a shakedown? Good one, officer! You're a funny guy! Now what can I do for you? Then fire away, officer! Only the coolest goods in Revachol. I've got sneakers, speakers, extremely comfy pants too. Try them on right here. No shame, only freedom. I'm an entrepreneur, officer. I've got sources, buyers, suppliers, distributors, manufacturers, wholesalers, all extremely cool and above board. No need for discounts at ceilings, officer. Everything's already on sale. Anything you want, 50% off. Good joke, officer! Here we don't have permits. Just economic freedom. Take a look around.
You glance around the decrepit buildings, the miserable weather, the sidewalks strewn.
It's beautiful. Beautiful freedom.
It is, yes. Anyone can set up their shop whenever they feel like it.
That's right. No permits, no bureaucracy. That's why this city and its law officials are so cool. Hyper cool. Anything for you. You mean these delicious pre-packaged shelf-stable meal kits? Really easy to cook, no hassle, really cheap too. Buy some, try them out. No problem here, officer. I get all this from one of my suppliers, an extremely reputable guy. Oh, he's a good guy. I think you'd get along. I'll let you know the next time he's around.
Interesting.
Me? It's a boring story, officer. Who cares about the past? I'm all business now. All Revachol. Very cool. I like your style, officer.
No need to dress this one up. Just tell him what you want.
Oh, okay. But why, officer? Ah, yes. Lots of cops are.
Are you trying to ask for a bribe?
Sorry, detective.
There are clothes inside. Cheap second-hand clothes.
Don't be shy. These are premium class clothes. Good.
You find your hands deep in tattered and faded garments made from weird polyester blends that make your body itch and sweat in all the wrong places. The box smells like cat piss or like an old person with no money.
Economical, but also trendy. Look first-hand, buy second-hand. Keep the economy moving.
Something cold grazes your hand. Synthetic and sleek. A windbreaker. Surf, it says, but also wind, summer, 100% waterproof, and sport. All in different typefaces. This jacket is the apex of human evolution. The moment at which practical, and yet it may deaden your senses to the world around you. Possibly because of the awful typeface.
Good choice, officer. Mega sporty. And it's only $4.50 for you, sir.
You find your hands deep in tattered and faded garments. The box smells like cat.
Economical, but also... The shine on these sunglasses lasts a lot.
These are all boring. Boring third-rate ho.
These are all first-rate sunglasses. Premium design, superb material, very cool. UV resistant. These will definitely keep your eyes safe and cool while doing your dangerous police work.
No luck. All you've...
Oh!
Hey, at least it might actually offer some protection against the sun. Not like those cheap plastic shades.
You don't like it? Sure, Square Joe. No problem. Let's get you some real shades.
Abort. These are hideous. What's more, they don't even fit your face. You can feel...
Damn, officer! You look like a mega secret spy! Very...
They're perfect for concealing your bloodshot and baggy eyes. It's going to be very difficult for anyone to take you seriously with these things on your face.
No, you are definitely not buying those.
Are you sure? But they look so good on you! You should think this through, officer.
You see two lowly, defeated speakers. Thralls. Slaves, basically.
I can see you with taste for luxury, officer.
A pair of Faun Ultras. The design is impossibly sleek.
Those sneakers, mister. Those sneakers are the latest Faun sneakers. Super Air, super fine,
These once respectable speakers have been a small...
No, don't look at the speakers, officer. Look at the sneakers. The sneakers are the stars here. No, don't pity them, officer. These are old Samaran garbage. Don't even look at them. Check out these super cool, fun Ultras instead.
The tear machine stands in the corner. Your bottles clunk into the machine, And the money, do you know what you should do with that money, kiddo? You should buy more. It's the ledger you found in the trash. A pitiful cabbage of white and yellow papers hanging from plastic board. There's a piece of toilet paper, or is it cleaning tissue? It's a metaphor for you. They're not exactly white. They're yellowed in patches by sunlight and alcohol, and covered in dense blue handwriting. Ink escapes into watercolor patterns, reaching its tendrils across entire pages. The paper itself is checkered, with faint red lines forming short paragraphs. Once in a while, there's a red stamp that exclaims, "Case files commit to paper." The case files themselves are plenty. You count more than 100 sodden, crumpled up, earmarked pages falling apart in your hands. They appear to be sufficiently organized and extremely dense, if mostly illegible. Work, strife, poverty, the Jamrock Quarter. These are handwritten logs of investigations dating back to January 51, this year. The exact number is hard to estimate due to missing pages and an odd naming convention. But there are at least 20, maybe 30 cases undertaken, not completed, mind you. It's the middle of March. You have attempted 2 cases a week on average. What do you mean? Is that all? Yes, it appears you employ a, shall we say, robust yet literary system. Each investigation has its case number written on the margins. Yet, still more tellingly, most are accompanied by a name. Yes, all caps. One is called The Next World Mural. Another, The Square Bullet Hole Murders. Another yet, The Unsolvable Case. Others appear more light-hearted. The guys on a couch in an unexpected location, and the murder at the hookah parlor. Even the rare article-free collapsing tenement. Murder features prominently throughout. You like this grimy murdering, don't you? Wish there was one in there about a drug den. You love those. Gets the blood pumping. It's going to take an effort to piece these case files together, but it can be done. Once you're done inspecting them up close.
Huh? 2 complex cases to undertake is a lot, yes. You really have to push yourself. I would not suggest it, lest you start making mistakes.
Arson, petty theft, spousal abuse. Handwritten logs on dozens of investigations date back to January 51. Stamped case files, commit to paper. These are your last couple of months in Revachol, Precinct 41, Jamrock Quarter. There is, for precisely 1 more. 15 pages near the end remain untouched by the damage. The checkered grid forms a structure of passages, breaking the case into subtasks to accomplish. The ledger only comes with an old, worn-down lead pencil. It will do, barely. But the lieutenant looks at his blue notebook. 2 fat, shiny pens hang from the binder, like large caliber bullets on an ammo belt. He is not really saying anything, just standing there, looking at them.
Know that I give this to you with resentment.
The tasks you've completed flow out of the blue oblong pen in a brash freehand uncannily similar to the rest of the letters. The wording comes easily. It's almost robotically simple, a language developed for mental rigor and simplicity. Inspect the victim's body. Get the body down. Interview the cafeteria manager. A satisfying slash sounds across the paper. You're done, it seems to say. And you, and you. And a fuck you to you too. That last one cuts a slash right through the paper. Things to be done and things already done. The composition of reality. This is an extremely useful tool for a detective of the citizens' militia. Now all that remains is to name the case.
No, actually. Any ideas? Okay. It's a good name, but it has one problem. This case has nothing to do with the setting sun. At all. It has nothing to do with that, so... Something more concrete, perhaps? Do you have something... Great! That's great! That's actually what I was thinking too. The Hanged Man. Good, strong name. We have a very good name for the case now. I'm going to start calling it the Hanged Man. It's good we sorted this out.
You don't exactly close them, so much as distance yourself from the smelly papers. They're a little further from your nose now. In the back, you see thin, translucent copier paper, some neon yellow, some bright red, all covered in boxes, like marching armies. These look like official forms, waiting to be filled out. Then rip them from the binder and hand them out, according to type of form. 3. The topmost are misconduct fines, the middle ones are station calls, and the bottommost are field autopsy forms. Each is easy enough to make sense of. A dozen pages of thin copy paper, bright red in color. You see the parameters of a deceased, color of the irises, predation marks, condition of sexual organs, a monetary penalization ranging from 20 to 250 real. These are quite sinister in turn. They give a date and time for the person to appear at the specified precinct police station. Below the call are the criminal charges you risk by not appearing. All in a print so small it could be considered downright cute. Yes, all that remains now is to fill those forms and hand them to people. Fines for wrongdoers. Interview. The rest of the stinking cellulose is much worse for wear. Being sandwiched between the board and the rest of the paperwork must have spared the fragile copier paper. It's proving to be harder than expected. You just don't have the intellectual rigor to patch the quilt back together. Try again later. Old call box with a matrix of push buttons lists all the companies in the East Delta Commerce Center. An inconspicuous pile of the roofing material, Eternite. An inconspicuous pile of the roofing material, Eternite. It's nothing. Someone just left some roofing material slanted against an old... Because there's a secret door hidden behind the panels of Eternite. That's why... There it is. You see a shabby little door.
What is this then? A tool shed? Let's investigate.
Be still, my beating heart. It's amphetamine, sweet amphetamine. The lieutenant isn't studying the powder in the mirror. He's studying you.
Perhaps not. This is below our pay grade, detective. However, See that ladder there? It's probably another way into the industrial harbor, no? A secret path the local kids use.
Looks like someone left his tarpaulin cloak hanging on the railing here. When the wind ruffles the cloak, you can most definitely see a white rectangle on its back.
Yes, it's probably yours. It bears the RCM insignia, and you have a habit of being careless with your equipment. You could probably make the jump. You look like you've done some track and field in your day.
The wind is aggressive up here. The lieutenant looks at the enormous crane towering in the distance over the container yard. That machine is a Kvalsund 1020 HK.
Is it? Kvalsund makes a lot of heavy equipment, but this is phenomenal, even for them. But I digress. We were focusing on your cloak here. The cloak? I do think it's yours, yes. As to, well, it doesn't seem too dangerous. 2 meter stops. Whenever you're ready to do it, I'll be right behind you.
Nope, no, you could have...
Hey! What happened? I understand. We can always come back when you are feeling better. It's just a cloak after all.
Looks like someone left his tarpaulin cloak hanging. When the wind ruffles the cloak, you can most definitely see a...
Yes, it's probably yours. You could probably make the jump.
The wind is aggressive up here. The lieutenant looks at the... That machine is a Kval...
Is it? Quals, but I digress. We were focusing on your cloak here.
As you leap in the air, a chilly breeze engulfs you, sharpening your senses. As the concrete floor welcomes you, you realize it's been a while since you felt so alive, alert, capable. Must be the adrenaline.
Hell yeah! My climbing might not have been as disco as your jump, but can we still get an aces high?
With your feet firmly planted on the concrete, the noise of the harbor rushes back in. On second glance, someone has forgotten to properly close one of the drawers.
It's unfortunate for the Union to just leave their paperwork lying around like this.
The drawer opens smoothly. Inside is a well-organized selection of hundreds of documents containing logistical data and the same materials being handed over to companies inside Revachol, Couron, Coal City, La Delta. It's hard to make sense of this thicket of company names, dates, quantities, and percentages. You try to focus, but the lines are getting blurry. Hundreds of documents containing logistical data and the same materials being... You already went through all of these. Look how blurry all the lines on these papers are. How unwieldy your own willpower is to yourself. You're like an absurdist Samaran monk, focusing through not focusing. You're a police officer, not a spiritual healer.
Is that what you're doing with those folders over there? My thought exactly, officer. Shall we?
Whatever's hidden here is hidden well. It appears to be a to-do list written in large, uneven capital letters. Remember, Leo, Everard's shoes, special whirling borscht, water Everard's plants, sweep office floor, more banners. All items on the list have been crossed out and the note itself is crumpled.
Everard Clare, probably, the head of the Debarders Union. One of his aides must have left it. Nothing incriminating here.
What is so special about this borscht? Code for drugs? Booze? Remember, Leo, Everard's shoes, special whirling borscht, water Everard's plants, sweep office floor, more banners. All items on the list have been crossed out. The drawer slide. Lonesome, long way home. Here we go. Home awaits. Walk past Station 41 and through the market, past the Boogie Street spearhead to the other side of the lake, the frozen eye at the center of the district. Then past the video rental store on the corner. There, at the end of a street lined with pine trees, a small house no larger than a matchbox, 11 Voyager Road. You no longer live there. Those times are gone. And so are those people. Why did you come here? Why are you still here? And where's the dealer? You have to get back to work. That's all you have now. An imposing combination of a punch clock and a payphone is looking down at you from the wall. A note on the side says, "Tokens unavailable due to strike. Use change." The machine swallows your coin and seems to be waiting for your next move. Your fingers run over the dial pad. 005. That's the dialing code for Revachol. 4952, and a moment of hesitation before entering the final numbers. 993. Calling. Calling. Still calling. Then.
Video Revachol, 24-hour video rental. We rent 8 and 10mm film for home use. This is Lammy. How may I help you?
The voice of a youngster on the other end sounds as enthusiastic as that of a man walking towards the gallows.
Video Revachol is a 24-hour video rental. We rent 8 and 10mm film for home use. This is Lammy. No. Sir, I don't know. It's a video rental. Maybe you rent videos here. Maybe you called to extend your rental period? Do you need to extend your rental period? If you need any further assistance, you can visit us on the corner of Voyager and Main. I can't help you over the phone. Are we done?
On the corner of Voyager and Main, a large neon sign hangs on the side of a building. Video Revachol, 24 hours. It's raining and there is almost no traffic on the street. Tiny hills tiptoeing down the road. Beautiful steps, light-footed with a lifetime ahead of them. You look up and the air seems to grow darker. The call is terminated by the other party. You're left with the discomforting sound of the disconnect tone. The file cabinet stands hundreds of and the same material. You already went through all of the. Remember, Leo, ever all items on the list. The drawer. So.
Yes? What do you want to know? You mean like a brief? Do you want me to brief you again? 3 days ago, the RCM emergencies desk. During that time, the victim had been stripped of his belongings. The caller did not identify him, but used the word lynching. There is an ongoing labor dispute between the local dock workers and the logistics company Wild Pines. Okay then. Was there anything else you wanted to know? What's there to say? It's just stupidity. The cop kind. Our precincts can't decide if Martinez is part of Jamrock or the Industrial Harbor. Yours or mine, as if we somehow own parts of the city. Typical street gang mentality. So we've let the Union make a mockery of law enforcement here, and now it's come to its natural conclusion. Well, sort of. It's less a matter of who gets to police Martinez than who has to. It's an orphan district, in other words. I think the dispatch desk just told both our stations about the hanging. There was quite the brouhaha at the 57th, I can tell you that. Time to settle it, they said. Cop off. But I assure you, I am not their finest or toughest with 102 cases solved. What I am is least interested in a pissing competition.
So he volunteered to represent the 57th, but not out of competitiveness. On the contrary. The silence carries.
Yes, I'm an unrepentant spoilsport. Martinez? Nothing. It's just a puddle at the end of some drain pipe. No one cares about this place. They care about sports. Most of our colleagues don't even know how to get here. North of the interchange doesn't exist.
A tremble comes over you. Another after effect of ethanol poisoning, perhaps. Feels like leaves do when they rustle in the breeze, somewhere far away, below the turbine. The 41st and the 57th. The lieutenant was right. It's not about who gets what's north. It's about who doesn't.
Yes, it's a wholly pointless matter. Forget I ever mentioned it. Yes?
Because you're the best qualified. No, that doesn't seem right. You look dumb if you keep the lieutenant waiting for too long.
Yes?
Because you're the best.
Yes?
Look at you. It's because you're a failure. They sent you to Slight, Precinct 57. Just think about it for a second. You're a raging alcoholic who showed up 3 days late wearing piss-stained disco garb. You weren't sent here to win.
I've considered it. It would be immensely ugly of them, not to mention unprofessional, but I also think it's somewhat unlikely. I checked the records. This jurisdiction dispute, who polices Martinez, reaches back to the 30s. It's as old as my station. And all this time we can't decide who gets Martinez? I think, yes, both stations would prefer a win. Safe? No. But you're old. You've made it this far. Something has brought you through. We've only just started working together, so I don't know what it is yet. But it's there. So no, I don't think they sent you as a joke. And even if they did, they are in for a surprise. Excuse me? You have a distinctive way of walking. If I were to walk in front of you, we would surely collide. I hope you don't take this the wrong way. It's just a collegial observation. In the 57th, we call it the Jamrock Shuffle. Officers from Jamrock's 41st Precinct tend to move a bit erratically. They say it's a scene-clearing technique developed by one of your lieutenants for gathering evidence. It's erratic, yet thorough. Prioritizes containers.
Yes, but containers contain things, shiny things. They're interesting. He simply nods.
Container, container, I'll turn you nice and red. Container, container, put the logos on.
The accent is so thick, it's impossible not to notice he's Ubi, from the vanishing peninsula of Ubisunt on Muindi.
Container, container, used to be Wild Pines. Container, container, Everard, he looks after everyone. Huh? Well, hey there. How can I help you, mister? I see you are not a union man, mister. Did you get lost? You're not one of them scabs, are you? I mean, I don't personally mind. Folks is just folks, you know, and folks gotta eat. Just some of the other guys don't look too kindly on the scabbing kind, if you know what I mean, mister. Oh, yes. I leave all kinds of notes for myself. That old head of mine ain't so good at keeping things in no more. I almost forgot about the borscht. Oh, yes. I've been taking special whirling borscht to the men every day since the strike started. It's very, very good. Makes a man feel so warm and happy. I feel like I could take on Mr. Renadan's boar dogs every time the lunch is done.
Power borscht, huh? Never heard of a borscht that turns little guys into dogfighters. Alcohol, however.
Yes. I'm taking it to them. The borscht keeps them happy and in fighting spirits. Makes you all warm inside. They brew it in the whirling in rags. Oh, the whirling's cook. He makes it. Them is always talking with Mr. Manana in that weird language and laughing together. He doesn't speak what we speak. He's from Grad. Oh, sure, mister. Sure. You do that. Yes, sir.
He didn't actually understand what you meant, and now he's just nodding along.
Oh, I'm just making some covers for them containers here. Yes, I am. So it's easier for the crane operators to spot them.
Everything is so pretty and red. You and Leo look like brothers as you glance around with similar childlike wonder. The old man whistles and hums a jaunty tune to himself.
Oh, that one. That should be empty as far as I know. Lots of containers here have nothing in them. They're just waiting to be loaded up. Yes. Everybody needs a job, and this is mine. I'm Leonard, by the way. Leonard Bellick. But everyone calls me Leo. I'm like Mr. Everett's right-hand man when Mr. Edgar is out of town, and Mr. Edgar's right-hand man when Mr. Everett is away. Actually, Miss Beaufort is the right-hand man, but she's a lady.
Who is this, Miss Beaufort?
A real pretty lady with a skin like those Douai Sucre candy bars my missus likes so much. Them are real nice to suckle on once the dinner is done and me and the missus sit down beside the radio. But I can't listen to the radio all the time. There's so much to do around here and I'm always busy keeping things running here. Yes, I am. Oh, Lizzie, she is a real sharp tool. Mr. Everett put her through some fancy school and everything, east of the river. 4 years she was gone, and when she came back, she was all fancy and lawyerly. But she's a real nice girl. Grew up in this here neighborhood. Knows everybody and gets along with everyone. Real pillar of the community one day, I'm sure. If me missus and me was to have a child, I'd be real happy if she turned out like her. But she can't have kids. Dr. Lemaitre said so, and she knows about such things. Been a doctor for almost 50 years she has.
Yes, this place really seems to run like clockwork. Keep it up, Leo.
Well, thanks a lot. Coming from you, it means a lot, really. Sometimes I feel some of the guys don't really get how much I bust my ass for them here. But you guys are alright. Oh, you want Mr. Everett then? He's an awfully nice fellow, he is. Him and his brother are both nice fellows. They've lived their entire lives in this here neighborhood. Guys like Mr. Everett and Mr. Edgar, his brother, are real good guys. Made Martinez what it is today. Mr. Everett and Mr. Edgar and I went to the same school we did when we were boys. Oh, Mr. Everett is where he always is. In his office, of course. Bye-bye now.
Before you is a walrus of a man, seated behind a large desk. He looks up from his work, not the least bit surprised to see you. With great effort, he straightens himself up in his chair, yet says nothing. He simply stares at you. With a mixture of expectation and impatience, well bottled.
Welcome, Mr. Dubois, Mr. Kitsuragi. It's good of you two to stop by. Please, have a seat. I'm Everard Clare, head of the Debarders Union here in Martinez. I'd offer you my hand, but unfortunately my health prevents me from getting up. You understand?
He looks extremely comfortable. The tiny folding chair, on the other hand, looks like a torture device.
You go ahead, detective.
Whatever he has in store for you, it can't be good, he thinks. I'll do my best. Forget about that. What's with this Dubois stuff? You're getting some seriously bad vibes from that name.
Please, Mr. Dubois, let us converse in a civilized manner, as equals. Take a seat. I insist. Very well, Mr. Dubois. I respect a man with strong convictions. I, too, have convictions. One of which is that I will not engage with any man who won't face me at eye level. Should you find yourself more amenable in the future, I'd gladly resume our conversation. But until then, I'm afraid I must ask you to leave.
You're no Titan affiliation, buddy. He's got you in a fork. Sit down or leave.
Excellent, Mr. Dubois. I can see that you're a reasonable man, and reasonable men can be of great use to one another. So tell me, how can the head of the Debarders Union help a representative of the Revachol Citizens Militia today?
The chair you're sitting on has got to be the most uncomfortable chair in the world. It's violating your backside.
Oh, by the way, I heard you got a rather rude reception from a certain Lawrence Gart. Some people have no manners, it pains me to say. This should take care of that nonsense. It should be sufficient to cover your expenses for a few days and patch over your differences with a cafeteria manager. Go ahead, take it.
Wow, that's 25 real. That's good money. You need it.
Don't mention it, but also don't forget it. I'm just kidding, of course. Now, I'd like to set your mind at ease about one other matter. Your lost gun. Let me assure you, Union people are on it as we speak. I've got my best hounds looking for that lost gun.
His slug-like lips move, but all you hear is an echo. Lost gun, lost gun, lost gun. The world is swallowed by a black hole of fear. Only 2 words escape its gravitational pull: lost and gun.
Are you all right, Harry? You seem anxious. Don't be. Everything's going to be all right. It's not like you left it loaded. You didn't lose a loaded gun. Local children aren't out there playing with it right now, pointing it into their own mouths. It's in a safe place. I just know it. I have a feeling everything's going to be all right.
It was loaded. There were 2 bullets in it. You always keep at least 2 barrels loaded. God, you're sweating. Your knee is jerking. You're about to cry, aren't you? You're about to cry because you lost your gun and those children are gonna shoot themselves with it. You want to cry? God, you're weak. Whatever you do, don't cry. You'll think you're disgusting.
Mr. Dubois, you don't look so good.
What is this, Mr. Dubois? He keeps repeating. What is he trying to pull here? You need to cool the fuck down. Chill.
Mr. Dubois! Mr. Dubois! Harry! Mr. Dubois, are you okay? Can I get you a glass of water or something? Are you having some kind of medical emergency?
Maybe you could use your hands somehow, in a kind of throw-in motion, like you're throwing that Mr. Dubois act right back at him. He's Mr. Dubois.
What an odd demonstration of... you got me, Harry. I don't even know what. As entertaining as it was, I'm afraid we're wasting our time. And I'm an extremely busy man, as I'm sure you are too.
Okay, enough. We are here to ask you some questions pertaining to a murder investigation.
Quick, here's your window. Get yourself together and ask him questions. Police officer questions.
Oh, of course. That's your main thing here. That's why you're in Martinez. I know everything that goes on around here, and I would love to discuss it with you. I mean, it's no secret that the lynching is connected to the strike. So much to talk about. Honestly, it's been weighing on me so heavily. I understand you need to interview me. But there's a thing that's been keeping me up at night. I want to talk about the hanging. I mean, if we could just calmly talk, exchange information, we could blow this thing wide open.
Yes, that sounds good. Let's do that.
But I can't think straight with this thing weighing on me. You're police officers, aren't you? I have a crazy idea. You guys are basically door-opening machines, incredibly talented at opening doors.
I'm not sure I understand. If you're asking us to break down someone's door, it's not going to happen.
Come now. I just need you to go open a little door for me and leave it unlocked. A simple thing. Absolutely nothing shady about it.
Does this jiggling ooze think he's going to use you? He's got another thing coming. Play his game, son, with your eyes peeled. He's going to slip up, and when he does, you're going to come out on top.
Harry, I'm a very busy man, and more importantly, I don't have that extraordinary physique you do. You look like you could run around all day.
You want to send someone a message that the police are working for you.
I repeat, I'm a very, very busy man, Mr. Kitsuragi, and therefore... Oh, no one's. It's just a weasel. A weasel lives there. Nothing for you to worry about. A loud blabbering weasel. When weasels feel no one is watching, they start acting foolishly. Just go there, unlock the door, and leave it open. It's been such a burden on me, Harry. I just want this to be over so I can discuss business with you. Harry, my dear friend, I am what people call a local bigwig. I know everything that goes on in Martinez. Of course, Harry, I understand. But if that's the case, I don't think we'll ever find your gun. Even worse, we won't be able to speak like equals about the murder. Perhaps this was just bad timing for you. Know that you can always come back to me. I really hope you do. For your sake, my sake, and for your gun's sake too.
Yes, we both understand what you meant.
This may be the only way, he thinks. I won't hold it against you. In fact, we probably should reconsider later.
Wait. You need this to get in and out through the gate. Here, you're one of us now. A real red and white Union man. Take care, Harry.
Scab?
I was just messing with you. No one's ever seen a cop scab. Imagine, you cops going on a strike, but then another cop comes in and says, let us cop for less money. Speaking of, what brings the RCM here, to the Wild North? Come to see the strife? The mercenary, eh? Who could have killed him? That's indeed the question. Why even do such a thing? What a thought! Why would noble workers resort to such a thing? Unless they were pushed, of course. Your dead guy was an enemy combatant. He was an agent of the opposition, attempting to undermine our honorable efforts. I ain't the murdering type, but that's just me. Large organizations like our union have all sorts of men, with all sorts of skills.
He means a more violent faction could easily take care of such a thing.
Understood. This has been of limited use. Still, thank you.
No problem. I wish the best to you in your search. Sure, I'm glad it's not my search.
Bastards! We have a right to work! Hold up and stay frosty, everyone. Cops are here.
You here to fuck with us? Beat the honest worker down.
Good. We're fighting for a cause here. Right to work!
Besides, we're not that different. It helps if people see us talking, cops and strikebreakers together. Shows authorities are on our side. Builds confidence. Maybe you should ask them the questions, like why we're not allowed to make a living here.
Shame on you!
We have families to feed, you piece of shit.
So do we, Scab.
We were promised work. We'd be in there, working, if the bastards hadn't shut the gates.
Main gate's locked. Would take
Heavy ordnance to bust it open. Could try to get in through the secretary's office. Door's locked. The guard's blocking the way to the access panel. And I don't mean the scrawny mess punk either. I mean head measurer. Or whatever he is. Like civilized folk, you mean? These native fucks don't understand civilized.
It would be better for the neighborhood if you went home, at least for now, if you can't get in anyway.
No! They will give up eventually. Or get drunk. Leave the button unguarded. Then we charge. Honest men and women, with rights, to work, to be useful, not toys for corporate interests. We came here to help the harbor run smoothly in time of crisis. If Union fucks don't want work, they ought to let in those who do want work.
I have a question. Why do all these men follow your leadership?
You think they follow because I'm big and loud? No. They follow the rules of the market, the rules of the economy, because they were given a job to do!
Finger pistols, 9mm. Snap, snap, baby. Turns out guns aren't that much for protecting as they are for attacking people. If you want to protect people, really work for them, you have to whip out your signature dual 9mm Villiers finger pistols. Who needs real guns anyway? That conversation you just had? It would have gone better had you snapped those bad boys at them. Note, 9mm dual finger pistols do not count for an actual weapon in a gunfight.
Right to work! Right to work! Shame on you!
When a bunch of ungrateful, lazy cockroaches can't get their act together, decide to block honest work for other people. Beats me. They mumble nonsense about boardrooms and workers' rights, while we have the right to work!
When the man moves around, you perceive some serious abs underneath his tight-fitting shirt. This man is in shape. There's something odd in the way he carries himself. His set of clothing looks vaguely mismatched. The different pieces of the attire seem ill-fitting. His shirt is far too small and an unpleasantly tight fit, while the overalls, held up by a belt, seem to fit a man with much more corpulence. He ignores your question, choosing instead to turn to the emaciated workers, raising both fists in the air. The clothes are obviously not his. You've been talking to him for quite a while now. Something is off with this guy. Ask him where he's from.
What's it to you? Am I a suspect? Done no crimes. I only fight for the rights of people. We're all workers, right? Workers stick together. Came from the eminent domain, in Jamrock. Backgrounds in odd jobs, heavy lifting, cargo hauling, bouncer work. I know the drill.
A monstrous shadow high above the fire traps of the domain. The 881 motorway running over this district of Jamrock. Concrete pillars rise up from the midst of the dilapidated wooden houses. On the horizon, barely visible, the hazy machinery of the harbor.
So anyway, cop, that's where I'm from. It would be stupid to doubt that. Worked at Territorial. Ring a bell? Uh-huh. It was a long time ago.
Yes?
A lorry stuck in the traffic jam. This big, heavy Grab-made machine is well kept for such an old machine. The windows are clear. They've been recently washed. You can see a lorryman's cabin with personal belongings, stickers, insignia. The driver has adorned his space with a substantial collection of peculiar paraphernalia. Proclamations about honor, strength, and purity are glued to various panels. A large metal pendant hangs from the rear view mirror. The pendant features a sun crowned with wavy rays. The back end of the cabin has a small perch to sleep, large ashtrays. There are several suns and wheels sewn into the curtains.
Racist nationalist paraphernalia. Not unusual in this part of town. This is our guy. Likely, yes. This guy's proud of who he is. Drapes it all over his machine.
There he is, in front of Rita, smoking nervously, hoping it's over. He was acting tough before. This probably scared him a bit. Who knows when it will come in handy, a slightly scared, racist lorryman. Small. The woman still has her eyes fixed on the photograph in her hands. In the background, the radio plays. No response. Wherever this woman is, your words fail to reach her.
Wait. She's just a distracted old woman. Better to leave her alone.
An old monument stands in the middle of the traffic island, pointing toward the sea. It looks as if it's been reassembled piece by piece, secured and mounted in the air with the aid of numerous ropes and rods. A silver plaque on the statue's pedestal reads, "I am Philip III, the Squanderer, the greatest of the Philippian kings of Revachol, son of Philip II, the opulent, father of Philip IV, the insane." As you look up, you notice something about the statue. There are some odd indentations on the king's chest piece. A silver plaque on the statue's pedestal reads, As you look up, you notice something with great kinetic energy seems to have impacted the cuirass, around where someone shot him in the heart. Interesting.
Okay, I can't see it, but I take your word for it. Well, Martinez is riddled with bullet holes. This place saw a lot of action during the revolution. But the statue is recently renovated, so maybe a joke? Target practice or a political statement? Why not? What this shows us is guns aren't too uncommon here, and people still shoot them, sometimes at kings.
The king stands high above you, surveying the bay, mute and indifferent to your sightings. What did he do? You have no idea. High above you, the king stands triumphantly.
Work! Shame on you!
What's it to you? Big mess, caused by union greed. But I only fight for the rights of people.
The man has turned his attention elsewhere. He shakes his fist slowly while observing you from the corner of his eye.
Honest men, we came here.
I have a question.
You think they follow because I'm big and loud? No, they follow the rule.
Is this about the questions again? Because I don't really know anything. Wow. I didn't know you worked for the union, sir. Anything else I can do for you?
That was easy, worryingly so. Blow the whole thing on speed and gin, right now. Speed and gin. Great combo. Ask some local dealers, maybe.
I don't really know anything. I mean, I know it's there, but I haven't seen it, so... Uh-huh.
Can I help you? Yes, have you got it? A lot. For the room and broken window, 100 real. Like what? I was really absolutely out of the question.
absolutely in the question. First we find a sad banger, then we sing this place to shit. The man ponders his cooking utensils and gives you a little nod, acknowledging your presence. The mention of mañana gets his attention. He smiles and delivers a whole slew of unfamiliar words and lively gestures. Then he falls silent again. The man says a couple of sentences in that strange language of his, and then seems to wait for you to speak.
Horse need more vodka?
Okay, so it's vodka that keeps the men happy and in good spirits. Clever move by the Union.
Of course, vodka. Now that makes a very, very special borscht indeed. Turn it up and then ask for some yourself. Turning it up seems like a dangerous idea, honestly. The place is a powder keg. The cook gives you a long, inspecting look, then shrugs too, and seems to wait for you to speak. He smiles and bangs his ladle against